In a historical parallel, the tensions in the South China Sea evoke memories of the Cold War era, where geopolitical rivalries often played out in disputed regions. One notable instance occurred during the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, when the United States and the Soviet Union engaged in a high-stakes standoff over Soviet ballistic missiles deployed in Cuba.
Let me ask you one simple question. Do you, Ambassador Zorin, deny that the USSR has placed and is placing medium and intermediate range missiles and sites in Cuba? Yes or no? Don't wait for the translation, yes or no?
The world held its breath as the two superpowers confronted each other, raising concerns of a nuclear conflict.
U.S. base on Cuba, the Americans sent strong reinforcements of Marines and withdrew dependence of the garrison. Meanwhile, the naval blockade against Russian and satellite ships nearing Cuba was put into effect.
In a contemporary echo of such geopolitical brinkmanship, the recent maritime aggressions by China towards the Philippines, especially in the Scarborough Shoal, echo the delicate balance and potential ramifications reminiscent of historical moments where global powers clashed over strategic interests in disputed territories. In a recent episode of Heightened Tensions in the South China Sea, China's maritime aggressions towards the Philippines, particularly in the Scarborough Shoal, have raised alarms globally. The most recent incident on December 9 involved China Coast Guard vessels using water cannons against Philippine supply ships attempting to resupply fishermen in the disputed atoll. Seized by China in 2012. Philippine Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, Romeo Brawner, revealed that he was on board a vessel sprayed with a water cannon and rammed by China.
Bagamat isa lang yung nakalusot dahil yung MV Kalayaan naman, nung winoter cannon ng Chinese Coast Guard, tinamaan yung makina nila. And hindi na sila makaandar. So they had to be towed by the Philippine Coast Guard. Kahit na partial lang yung naging success ng ating resupply mission, masaya pa rin yung mga tropa natin sa BRT Sierra Madre.
Videos released by the Philippine Coast Guard depicted Chinese ships blasting water cannons at Philippine boats on December 9 and 10 during resupply missions to fishermen at Scarborough Shoal and a garrison at 2nd Thomas Shoal. The incident also led to a collision between Philippine and Chinese boats at 2nd Thomas Shoal, where a handful of Filipino troops are stationed on a grounded warship. However, China claimed it had lodged representations with the Philippines, asserting that a Philippine vessel had collided with Chinese maritime police vessels.
期间，菲方船只不顾中国海警船警告，执意冲闯仁爱礁泻湖，并以危险方式冲撞现场的中国海警船。菲方上述举动严重侵犯中方主权，危害中方船只和人员安全。中国海警依据国内法和国际法，对菲方船只采取必要措施。
As China intensifies its maritime confrontations, the Scarborough Shoal becomes a focal point for disputes. The recent clash involving water cannons signifies a worrying escalation in China's assertive actions, prompting concerns about regional stability and the potential impact on Western businesses engaged in friend-shoring operations in the Philippines.
We are going to comply with President's instruction na maging matatag sa pag-enforce ng international law by our own selves and, more importantly, with partner and like-minded countries of the world.
Friend-shoring, the outsourcing of operations to friendly countries, has been favored by Western companies, but rising tensions and instability caused by China's actions are unsettling these businesses. The strategic implications for Western businesses are significant.
We have come now to recognize the concept of economic security, wherein the stronger an economy is, the more secure it is and the more partnerships we can maintain to maintain the peace in our region.
As China's increased aggression in the Philippines could intentionally disrupt friend-shoring operations, giving China leverage to exert influence over the economic landscape in the Philippines, further complicating regional dynamics as confrontations escalate. The United Kingdom has strongly denounced what it characterizes as unsafe and escalatory tactics deployed by Chinese vessels. The UK's official stance firmly opposes any conduct that raises tensions, emphasizing concerns about harassment, unsafe practices, and intimidation tactics employed by Chinese vessels in the South China Sea. This condemnation underscores global concerns about escalating tensions, reflecting the complex diplomatic landscape surrounding the disputed waters. In response to the UK's condemnation, the exchange of statements between the UK and China highlights the complex diplomatic dynamics involved in the South China Sea dispute, emphasizing the broader implications for regional peace and stability. Australia and Japan, likewise, have also conducted joint exercises with the Philippines in a show of commitment and support. Meanwhile, India is also increasing its military engagement in the South China Sea, with the Indian warship INS Kadmat participating in maritime exercises in the Philippines.
India's expanding military footprint, a new posture in the South China Sea. An Indian ship is docked in Manila. It is called the INS Kadmat. It's an Indian warship and it's there on what's being called a goodwill visit. It will join a military drill in the West Philippine Sea.
The warship's presence underscores India's strategic engagement in the region amid rising tensions. This growing military engagement is driven by shared interests with countries like Vietnam, with recent defense deals emphasizing India's commitment to ensuring freedom of navigation, protecting natural resources, and addressing security concerns in the South China Sea. As geopolitical dynamics in the South China Sea continue to evolve, nations like India are proactively engaging to prevent conflicts and protect their strategic interests. The focus is on maintaining open shipping lanes, secure trade routes, and protecting vital resources like oil and gas, as the world watches with a vested interest in unfolding developments in this critical region. If you liked this video, please do not forget to watch out previous uploads for in-depth understanding of tensions in the South China Sea.